NFTs and all these other things would arise just a short 6 years later. And I thought, oh, here's an opportunity to, for the creators and, the people that enjoy art to have a closer relationship. And in every other field, technology has advanced the arts. And I felt like in the music space, we were still operating, as if it were, um, the beginning days. Um, and I felt like, here's a chance to let, artists participate, artists, uh, you know, um, enjoy technology and utilize, tools to reach more people and have a more direct relationship with the people who, enjoy and consume art. So that was the initial idea, and the idea of um, having this sort of coalition and this union came from watching the early Charlie Chaplin and those guys created a thing called United Artists way back in the days, and pretty much got the inspiration from what they were doing to like create this Tidal coalition. And that was a very long answer, but that's the answer.
And you, I mean, you work so hard at this. Why did our partnership make sense from your side? Like why join forces with a payments company? I mean, we're making a cash register and cash app and a financial company. Why did that make sense to you? And I can certainly speak to that as well.
I think that we were aligned in our conversations and, viewing artists and viewing creators as small businesses, um, and, treating each individual artist as a small business. And, the things that Square and Cash App, were doing was pretty much aligned with, what one does with their own brand. You create a business, you take out a small loan, you get the things that you need to help you be successful. You build it out, and you keep building from there. So our conversations just naturally aligned. On the outside, it may not seem natural, but it's super. It's quite natural. It makes all the sense in the world to me, to us. If you want to speak more to it.
Yeah, I mean, we started talking a year ago now, and we just saw so many different parallels between. I would tell you stories around our work to help a small business, like someone just getting started. They just, they have a dream. They have themselves. They have minimal resources. Most of the financial industry is working against them to the point where they can't even accept a credit card. The point where they can't even participate in the economy and where the thing is going. And in conversation, it just became so apparent that there were so many parallels in spirit to what a musician and artist has to go through, to what a small business owner has to go through, just to get started first and foremost, but then to grow and to thrive, and to find new customers and find new fans. There were so many things that were closely related, and it really, what really dawned on me was how weak some of the tool sets are for artists. Just simple things like analytics and data to understand like what they're doing and help them inform their decisions, especially in considering like other revenue streams like merchandise and touring and some of the newer formats like NFTs. So as you said, like it felt a little bit weird on the surface, but when you really go down deep into it, there's a lot of connection and a lot of things that we don't have to really rebuild again. We can just repurpose, and that's what made it feel really right to me.
And also, I add on top of that to create more artists. Like there are people doing things that you know that are like offshoots of what a typical musician does. Graphic designers and all these other people. Offering them the opportunity as well, and the education. The open analytics is key. As a musician, you learn and you master your craft. You learn new technology, new equipment, MP3 to SP 1200, etc., etc. And it seems like the education for on the business side is not moving forward, and it should be at this time because we have the technology to just have an open dialogue. We don't have to hide anything. This is what came in, this is how much you made, this is how you do it. You can upload this. Um, you don't need so many people in the middle of the process for you to be a functioning artist.
And you're, I mean, you are like the living manifestation of like an intersection between an artist and a business and an entrepreneur. What was the most surprising thing you learned along the way in that intersection?
I think that how natural it is. It's like, again, it's a natural progression of what you do, like a natural thing to create art and protect your art, and to um, have a dialogue with the people who consume and enjoy your art. It's really not it's not as difficult as is made to appear. I think a lot of it is, you know, the confusion is created to keep a lot of people in the dark. I remember there was a time where if a person knew, or you took a deal, people would be like, "Oh, you should be an artist." It was almost like they were trying to shame you into um, not knowing um, your business and what you were creating. It's like almost a shame thing. Like you shouldn't be. It was a time where it was like a knock to be in the commercial. It's like it was a bad thing. He was like, "Oh, you went commercial. You made a commercial." And we're not in those times anymore. But that was a real thing for a long time, and I think some of those things still exist today. And I guess the answer to your question is how natural it and how easy it really is. The more simple, it's really hard work, I guess, to simplify things, and that's what we want to do. We want to open up, all the information tools, and just simplify it for everyone. Anyone could come onto the platform and create. Um, I guess I'm getting ahead of myself, but the idea with Tidal is just to anyone can come onto the platform and create a profile and become, um, an entrepreneur or a creator, and both.
And it should be that easy. And that's when, and you mentioned one of those parallels that we found in Early Square, which was like we talked to all these small businesses who, they didn't accept credit cards because every time they tried, they had no idea when the banks would come in and take their fees. And oftentimes the bank would take their fees when they were least expecting it, meaning that they didn't have enough money in their account to cover the fees, meaning they went into an overdraft. They got charged for that. And every single thing was against them. The entire financial system seemed to profit off like these mistakes and this obscurity of information, purely obscurity of information, not sharing enough so that people can actually have a fair chance at building something. But it should be as easy for like anyone to like come in with one angle, such as music and art, and be able to expand that universe in whatever way they wish because the tools are just right there and it's all transparent and open.
Exactly.
Um, so we got some questions from Twitter. I'm read some of these. So at KCI 900, what inspired Jay and other artists to venture into streaming besides the expanded control that artists have over revenue generation, promotion, and release dates?
I don't think we had a choice to expand into streaming. It's the next format, and if you're going to be a functioning artist, you have to participate in what is now the dominant format in just 6 years. Um, I was fortunate enough to see it 6 years prior, but today it's the dominant format, and we didn't have a choice to participate in streaming. That's just the way the industry moved. Was there a two-part question? I think.
No, that was good. Um, so let's see. We got a question from Sophia M. Zeller. How do you see the use case for blockchain tech evolving in the media and entertainment sector, specifically with the growth of streaming services? So, Jay, you've spoken about like streaming as a format, and you mentioned earlier like NFTs, but just from your perspective, how do you see all this technology, and like what excites you and what concerns you?
Um, more so exciting. Like the things that excite me is again a way to have a transparent transaction with people who can make art and who consume art. If you look at the way that it works for painters, specifically artists. If I'm, one of my favorites, Basquiat. I know he's sick of me bringing him up, but he's amazing. If you look at Basquiat, someone like Basquiat who made a painting in '83 that was sold for 2,500, um, bought for 2,500, and then sold for 10,000, and then in 2020 or 19, recently it sold for $110 million, and his family, or no one, involved, seen any sort of uh, profit from that. And I just don't think that's right. With these blockchains and these smart contracts, you can write the contract today to say any sale that happens, I want to receive 10% or 30%, or you can write it out 50% on the first one, 40% on the next. There's so many things, so many creative ways you can, participate and let others participate. It's a new way of, again, and it's recorded there, so it's very transparent. There's no hiding behind any fancy words and lawyers, etc., etc. And I want to be clear, I'm not anti anything. I'm not anti lawyers or anti label. I'm just really pro artist. I'm pro artist, and I've always been, um, since the beginning. And anything that benefits the relationship between people who consume art and love art and the people who are making it is, that's what I'm interested in.
Yeah, exactly. And I think the technology points to just more openness, more participation. You look at Bitcoin and how it enables people anywhere in the world to contribute and to become artists themselves, and also to receive tips or grants or donations without having to go through any third parties. There's a lot of power on that. And I think the spirit of what NFTs represent, the spirit of just looking critically at how artists are compensated and improving that, is something that we want to spend a lot of time and a lot of our focus on going forward, to make sure that we're just looking deeply at entirely new ways to give artists the right tools to help them, and to build. Um, we got one more question, and then we're going to bring up our special guest here. So let's see. As a longtime Tidal user, I am most excited about the original content on the platform. Are there plans to expand this, and if so, what is the strategy and timeline? By at MLFTW1. Can you just speak to like the history of like everything you've done around editorial and curation and content, why that was important to Tidal's success?
I think the because we were solely focused on music and artists, we did things that were just a part of the culture. I guess one of the best examples is the way that we don't have anything to do with verses, but the way title interacts with that. If it's popular in the culture and it moves in the culture, we want to be nimble enough to like react to that. Um, so we were just reacting to anything that was going on. Um, um, and yeah, we'll continue to do that because again, we are. specifically artist driven. So anything that's moving in the culture, we want to be involved in it or reactive to it. Or so I don't have a timeline for that because it's actively happening like daily on a daily basis. Um, so yeah, obviously we hope to continue that and refine it and learn from you know Tidal went through a lot of iterations and a lot of mistakes and a lot of a lot of backlash and we learned we took our lumps and we responded in kind and so yeah, we'll continue to do that because the mission and the intention of what we want to do is right. I believe we're on the side of right, and whether we get there today or 10 years from now, um, I can't tell. I can't put a time on that, but we will continue to be part of the conversation and part of the culture and part of creating tools and analytics and et cetera, et cetera. As we learn more, the site will continue to develop in a positive way.
Exactly. Exactly. And there's one more question before I guess. With Tidal, what are some immediate priorities that Square is hoping to address post acquisition? So I'll just speak to this. We have a 100-day plan that's focused, number one, on just looking at integration potential. So like what exists between Tidal, Square, and Cash App. What can we do to immediately integrate to make it better for artists, to give them more tools to really add to what they're able to and enable them in entirely new ways. The second is around the listening experience and improving that as much as we can. So tools, listening experience, and then third is really around looking at the newer technologies, looking at the what NFT is trying to say and the spirit behind it, and what we can do to help an artist with these newer technologies. Um, so that's our first 100 days. You'll hopefully you all see some action this year, and we'll keep the conversation ongoing as we announce it. Now I'm going to bring up two artists that Tidal chose to have a conversation with. The first is named Olivia. Olivia, I'm going to ask you to join as a speaker. And Olivia is from Detroit,
Hello.
25-year-old songwriter. Hello, how are you?
Hi. I'm great. How are you guys
You
doing?
hear us? Thanks for joining us.
Hey,
Yeah.
So
hey,
you
welcome.
you
Thank
were
you.
one of Tidal's Unplugged winners, and you also won a John Lennon Songwriting Award and current winner of the Great American Song Contest. And Olivia, while I get our other artists up, I think you have some questions as well.
I do. Yeah, I'd really prefer that you read all my shortcomings and not all the good things before I started speaking. So I was very fortunate to be chosen as one of 5 independent artists from Detroit to receive the Title Unplugged program award. And really, it's just been nothing but wonderful artist-centric serving assets since then. From the easy use platform, the highest audio quality, stream payments. It's just all been really wonderful. And I guess the one thing that Title is missing, from my perspective, is an artist portal. So I wondered if you guys were planning to create an artist portal where artists could see the direct analytics and, have access to personalize their own artist pages.
Um, Jack, you want to speak to that? Because I
Yeah,
you spoke a bit to it earlier. Absolutely. That's absolutely part of the plan, and so I guess my answer is yes, but maybe Jack could speak further to it.
yeah, no, it's absolutely yes. That I think the biggest opportunity we saw, Jay and I, when we had our initial conversations was just the tools. Artists have very few access to data, to information, to analytics, and there's not enough direct connection to those tools, and the tool space is rather weak in comparison to other industries. And the individual tools are strong in parts, but the connection between all the tools to make it easy on artists to see everything that's happening around them, to to manage a store, for instance, which is something we're excited about doing. Is just adding commerce abilities as well, but also just making it easy to collaborate, to publish, to take away all the friction points that most artists have to go through just to get something out in the world.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, really, like I said, Title's by far and away the most equal of all of the platforms, and just from my perspective, it's like it's not a couple of artists are favored or a couple projects are favored. It's just consistently, whether you're independent or you're signed or wherever you come from, what music you make, it's you have a shot, of being heard and of making the music that you like. And so that would be amazing to have that.
It was a great question. Thank you.
Yeah,
It's a
thank you.
great question.
Right.
Um, can't find our other artist. If 26AR, if you're out there, and if you're logged into a different account, log into your 26AR account and just let me know, and we'll bring you up on stage. But Olivia, what has been your biggest challenge as an artist coming into the industry, and like what else would you like to see fixed, and like where should Title focus beyond Portal?
Well, like you guys were speaking earlier, I started, I'm young, but I started touring when I was like 14 or 15. I just started opening for songwriters on the road. And so back then it was a completely different industry. It wasn't streaming centric. I had physical CDs. I just, valued that, but I don't think people value that the same anymore. And that's totally fine. But I guess like as an independent artist, the toughest thing to wrap my head around is that in order to get new listeners on a mass scale, you either have to be, placed in a Netflix show or placed on playlists. And so I wondered if you guys had any plans to make the playlist more equitable for women, for minorities, for all genres. How many people are working on the playlists? I don't know if this is too broad of a question, but um, again, just serving artists as best as possible.
Yeah, Jay, you want to speak to the history? I mean, this is definitely something that I think sets Title apart from others. Is its focus on curation and editorial, and a good balance between humans and algorithms. And I think the team has done an amazing job at being relevant to the culture as it's happening. When you open up the app, you see it reflected back to you instantly, and that's a strength and something that I think we should certainly build upon.
Yeah, I think in the beginning everything was like super manual. I was making playlists and people were making playlists. We were creating um, content in house as we worked on the algorithm, um, and we built and built, and it got really good. And if you play a song now, you could just pretty much let Tidal fly, and I promise you, you're gonna find new music, new amazing music that you've never heard before. I found so many songs. My playlist game is A++. I challenge anyone out there. I see a lot of people on this call, like I'm not gonna call it individual names, but um, I'm definitely, you know, in the top tier of the playlist creators. I'm laughing. I'm laughing. And but really, yeah, the again in the beginning, it was a lot of content we were pushing, and we did a lot of work with the engineers, and now the algorithm is caught up to you know to what we were doing. So you know, but we'll always maintain a human element because that's where it comes from. You can't duplicate the heart and spirit and people that's in the office working really hard and care what's going on and know what's happening in culture minute by minute. And it's super important to us. So again, another great question. It's super important to us to interact and have that relationship between back and forth. There's been playlists where people said I made a playlist. I think like a Curtis Mayfield, Isaac Hayes, blah blah blah, something, and I missed the song, and someone said, he should have put on. I can't remember the song currently, but we changed it. And 1 minute later, the song was on the playlist. And those sort of things, that's exciting to me, to us, to the team. We like that kind of response, and it's a give and take, and that's the relationship we're talking about. Creating in all aspects, not just playlists and everywhere across the board. Um, so yes, the long answer is to yes, and again another great question.
And we got 26AR from Brooklyn, Crown Heights. You want to unmute?
Yeah,
How you
I
doing?
can hear me.
We hear you.
Yeah.
Alright, how you guys doing? I'm an independent artist from Brooklyn, New York. This is an honor. I want to thank you guys for giving me the opportunity to voice my opinions and questions. Uh, the first question I got is, uh, I was wondering, can you create like a feature that allows artists like myself to directly share interactive new content with fans? Hello.
Yeah. Good. Go
Yeah,
go go more into that. Like what do you see?
like I feel like it would be dope if like fans like artists could upload like pictures and new content to fans like to like I don't know like to I don't know like to
Yeah.
the title app.
Yeah, exactly. Like
Yeah,
so I think there's and Jay, you should speak to this too, but like we've had a lot of ideas around just I think there's been so many tries at making music more social, and
yeah,
especially that fan connection. And
yeah,
all of them just haven't been great yet. And
yeah,
I think they've just focused on the wrong thing. So we're certainly we'll do the basics, but we have some ideas for some entirely new listening experiences with exactly the goal of bringing that fan base a lot closer, making them feel part, a much bigger participator in the listening experience as well.
yeah. Like, cause I feel like as an independent artist, engagement is big, and so that's something I wanted to point out.
Yeah, I think like when I spoke to the part about the playlist or how that happened. I put the playlist out. Someone said, "Oh, you missed that song," and blah, blah. That sort of direct relationship. We want to mirror that in all aspects. So what you're saying is on point. Music is a social experience, and you know think about all the social experiences you've had, or you will have, that if we eliminate music from that conversation, you know, that's a big dynamic. So yeah, we absolutely want to create a very fluid, conversation back and forth. So to answer your question, yes, that we're working on a lot of things, a lot of exciting things, and for this area in particular. Um,
And two
yeah.
six AR, like as you've been coming up in your career, like was the biggest challenge you faced, and is there anything that you think Tidal should be focused on, or that we should focus on to help artists like you?
Uh, the biggest challenge I experienced in my career is like getting that big following that I seek so much, getting that attention I really want. Uh, I feel like is there any interest in creating a chat box in the app like because I think it's important to stay connected with the fans across social platforms. I would love to tap in. I would love to tap in with my title fan.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and that's the focus area for us, is like how do we improve the listening experience such that there's more participation around it as well, especially for the emerging artists.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Um,
Just to add on to what he's speaking about, I know it's probably not right to say their name here, but Spotify, has these banners. This is just kind of scratching the surface in artist personalization, in my opinion, but it is like a very cool way to interact further, especially independently, like 26 was saying. And so, is there any plan for that sort of thing for another visual aspect like that?
Sure, and I don't think there's any you can say any name here. Again, we're not anti anyone. If we can push a different streaming service or whatever to have a better relationship or to work harder for the artist or to improve the accounting to artists. I mean,
Absolutely.
that's what it's about at the end of the
Yeah.
day. It's not about us. It's not
Yeah.
about title. It's about the relationship between artists and industry. So I appreciate the you saying that, but again, we're just trying to improve that relationship, and we're not anti Spotify or Apple or whomever. Um, yeah, again, these sort of things would develop over time as well. We have a ton of things, and the first 100 days, as Jack spoke to, and as we get feedback and we hear from you guys, then we'll add to it. Some things would take precedent over others, but anything that makes sense, like you know, um, we the things he was asking for. We're in the process of in social tools again, so you can have that conversation back and forth, and you know, so to answer your question again, that the answer is yes.
And just to build on Jay, like any tools that we build, the intention is that wherever an artist wants to go with them, they go. And we're not interested in creating a closed ecosystem. Everything that we've learned over our years combined is about openness and transparency, and how creating something a lot more open and unboxed leads to better outcomes for everyone, and including us. But you put the artist first, and you put that mindset in the front of everything, and everyone wins, everyone benefits. So we have no hesitation around our peers in the industry. But we're gonna focus on those tools to make the artist shine, and give them what they need to thrive in every way. Okay, I think that is all we have time for this time. We're gonna do this again sometime, Jay.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Okay, thank you, everyone. Thank you, Olivia and 26. Appreciate you, and we'll be back later.
All right, thank you.
All right. Good talk. Peace.
Thanks, guys. Bye.
Thanks all.